Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Starting today under Michigan's new Safe Homes, Safe Schools law, school districts are required to educate their parent and caregiver community about secure firearm storage. By joining us this morning and spreading the word, you're helping us to ensure that school districts know about the law and make it a priority to get this life-saving information out to parents. I'm going to pass it over to our speakers for today. We'll start off with Representative MacDonell, who's one of the bill sponsors. And she'll speak to more on what this requirement is and why it is important. Thank you so much for joining us this morning after your long night, representatives.
Oop, you're muted.
Of all the times. Good morning, everyone. I am State Representative Sharon MacDonell, and I sponsored one half of Safe Home, Safe Schools bills that are in effect as of today. And I'm very excited to join you all. I'm very, very, very proud to be part of this package. But before we continue, I would be remiss not to acknowledge the horrifying shooting that occurred over the weekend in Grand Blanc Township. While law enforcement is still investigating, my heart is with the victims of this terrible act of violence and all of those who love them. As we all know, our state and nation have been reeling from what seems like an endless stream of mass shootings, especially in the past few months. And as we mourn every life lost in these tragedies, it's important not to accept them as part of the background noise in American life. This truly is not normal, in the sense that it does not happen in other countries. The causes of gun violence are well known, and their solutions are in reach for those with the bravery to advocate for them. These horrific events happening much too often tell us we must do everything we can as legislators to stop gun violence. That's why I want to thank every gun safety advocate on this call for your tireless work, even when the odds seem long, which is way too often. Your efforts do pay off. Last term in the 102nd legislature, we answered that call by enacting universal background checks, safe storage requirements, and extreme risk protection orders. These policies are all saving lives today. Then in the waning weeks of the 102nd legislature, we followed up with Safe Homes, Safe Schools. It took another strenuous last-minute push from so many advocates, educators, and responsible gun owners, but we did manage to get it done. And here we stand today with the provisions of that legislation now in effect. So thanks to all of your efforts and ours starting this school year, every parent of every child at every single K-12 school in the state, including privates and publics, will receive objective information about safe firearm storage every single year. This legislation will keep firearms out of the hands of unsupervised children and save lives. And we know that when kids get their hands on guns at home is when they're capable of bringing them to school. Critics of this legislation and of gun safety legislation in general point to tragedies like Sunday's shooting in Grand Blanc and say that our work is futile, that it's pointless because it doesn't prevent every gun death. But that perspective is cruel and wrong. We know that if this legislation saves one life, it will have been worth it. If it keeps one family from being broken, one classroom of kids from losing their friend and being forever damaged by that experience, one parent from going to prison, it will have been worth it. Because there's no such thing as other people's children. We all have a responsibility to keep kids safe from gun violence, and this responsibility inspired the legislation we're celebrating today. Again, I want to thank everyone who helped make it a reality. I also want to thank those tasked with implementing it, the Department of Health and Human Services, the Department of Education, and the countless school boards across our state. You are making Michigan a safer place at home and at school. Thank you also to End Gun Violence Michigan for organizing this press conference, and I would be happy to take questions, but I think all of our speakers should go first, and I think I can throw it off to Representative Brixie.
Thank you so much, Rep. MacDonald. I am so thankful for you to have invited me to join you on this package. And thank you for working so thoughtfully with our stakeholders to introduce these bills so effectively. I'm also thankful for everybody on this call for their advocacy. We couldn't have gotten Safe Homes, Safe Schools through without your tireless efforts to make our schools and communities the safe havens our children deserve to live and grow in. I'm so proud to have sponsored this legislation. More broadly, I'm honored to have been able to support the historic gun reforms we passed in the 23-24 legislative session. Emergency risk protection orders, universal background checks, preventing convicted domestic abusers from possessing guns, and of course, safe storage. They're all huge victories for our state that I hope are the first steps in a long line of common sense gun reforms. My district has felt the impact of gun violence. We're coming up on the 2-year anniversary of the MSU shooting, which took the lives of 3 young people and injured 5 others. One of the injured survivors was an alumni of Okemos High School, where there had been a swatting incident just days before the tragedy at MSU. Our children and today's students, future leaders who deserve to live and learn in peace, are tired of living under the constant threat of gun violence. I believe we must do everything we can to make the world safer for them. When it comes to protecting children, safe storage is one of our strongest tools. The majority of K-12 school shooters are children, and the majority of accidental child firearm deaths are the result of guns left loaded and unlocked. Safely securing firearms to keep them out of the reach of children will undoubtedly save lives, but we're unlikely to know when families are failing to follow the law until it's too late. That's where my bill is needed, ensuring all gun owners are educated and aware of their responsibility to properly secure their firearms, especially as time goes on and gun owners become parents for the first time. My bill requires that the informational notice about safe storage laws is disseminated to parents annually. As of today, schools have received that informational notice and should now be preparing to send that notice out to their parent and caregiver community within the next year. My bill does not create any stricter gun laws or put any additional burden on responsible gun owners. It actually empowers responsible gun owners by ensuring they know the law and exactly how to fulfill its requirements, including where to obtain free and/or low-cost gun locks and safes. For that reason, I'm very disappointed that these bills passed on party lines. I see this legislation as a partnership between the state, the schools, and parents to ensure firearms remain out of our kids' hands through education. We should all be working together to protect our children, and we can all celebrate the beginning of implementation of this important law. Now, I will pass it over to Superintendent Alston of Kellogsville Public Schools to speak more on why this is important to schools.
Thank you, Representative Brixie, and thank you for having me on the call. My name is Jim Alston. I'm the superintendent of Kellogsville Public Schools in my 4th year of this role, but I've spent the past 20 years in the district, so I have a strong community buy-in here. I'm here today just to share what Kellogsville Public Schools has done and is prepared to do. I'm excited to share the Safe Home, Safe Schools material with our parents and community. Sharing secure storage resources is not new to our district. At the urging of one of our staff members who has her own tragedy with unsecured guns, in May of 2024, Kellogsville Public Schools passed a secure storage resolution through the Board of Education, making a strong commitment to promoting secure storage. We have sent information to our community about what safe storage is, also how to implement it and why it's essential, as well as what it's not, such as not telling people they can't own firearms. We are simply asking them to follow the law and ensure that they securely stored their firearms out of reach of unsupervised youth. Secure storage is something we want to see in our community because it saves lives. It means that when our youth are in crisis, they don't have access to lethal means to harm themselves or others. It also protects our students, teachers, and staff without infringing on anyone's rights. Securely storing a firearm is an action all responsible gun owners should be taking. At Kellogsville Public Schools, we have gone beyond what is now required by law. We have not only shared information about secure storage through newsletters and communications, but we have also invited community advocates for secure storage to attend community events, such as our community celebrations, our parent-teacher conferences, and sporting events. We share reminders and additional resources about safe firearm storage, and even provide free gun locks courtesy of Wyoming and Kentwood police departments. We have received nothing but positive feedback from our community in doing these steps. Our parents want to take the simple step to make our community safer, and we are glad to partner with them in order to help them. I encourage all other schools, districts across the state to join us in the effort. Sharing secure storage information with our community is now a legal requirement. We should not only follow the law, but also take additional steps to be leaders in secure education and keep our young people safe. I will pass it on, excuse me, I will pass it over to Brenda Goss Andrews.
Thank you, Superintendent. Good morning. My name is Brenda Goss Andrews, and I am a retired Detroit Police Deputy Chief, former president of the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives, NOBLE, founder of the It Starts at Home Secure Storage Program, and a current advocate with Moms Demand Action, as well as a substitute teacher with Detroit Public Schools Community District. I established It Starts at Home as president of NOBLE in response to my growing concern of young children, even those under 10 years old, being injured, killed, or causing harm to others as a result of access to unsecured firearms in homes, an issue that often receives very little media attention. During my tenure as NOBLE president, I initiated this secure gun storage awareness campaign and collaborated with Everytown Be Smart to distribute educational materials to various police departments nationwide. We conducted community meetings to distribute gun safety locks and talk about gun safety. A 3x5 gun safety card was developed to give out to communities. Everytown continues to play an active role in supporting NOBLE's efforts to promote safe firearm storage. As a former law enforcement official, secure storage practices are extremely important to me because it is simply something that prevents deaths, that saves lives. It's something that we can do to stop these types of deaths. Best practice for secure gun storage is to leave the firearm unloaded, including any chambered rounds, or unloaded and locked with a gun lock with ammunition stored separately. Be sure the keys are not accessible. The materials being shared by school districts will include information like this about what secure storage is, as well as about where parents can obtain free and low-cost gun locks and safes. This includes also through your local police departments. Also, the materials that schools are requested to send out have been emailed to schools through the Michigan Department of Education and can be found on MDE's website. Sharing secure gun storage information through schools is a strategy that will enable all of us to reach many more people with resources to help them securely store their firearms and keep their families safe. I, along with other moms advocates, work closely with the Detroit Public School Community District, school board to pass a secure storage resolution, which was approved unanimously in March 2025. And this reinforces my district's commitment to secure storage education as a vital part of the school's safety plan. I want to thank Superintendent Vitti, School Board President Dr. Corletta Vaughn, and DPSCD Police Chief LeBritt Jackson for their dedication to this effort. As educators, we're not only responsible for ensuring our children are educated, but also for ensuring their safety. As a secure storage advocate, I am committed to continuing to work with my district to make sure that the Safe Homes, Safe Schools materials reach parents and to support the district in providing additional secure storage resources like gun locks. Remember, it does start at home. I now will pass it over to Lisa for Michigan PTA. Thank you.
On behalf of Michigan PTA, I want to thank you representatives for your sponsorship of these bills and thank all of the government officials and advocates who have put in the hard work to start implementing them. Hello, my name is Lisa Roscoe, and I am the Vice President of Unit Support for Michigan PTA, as well as a parent in the Rochester Community School Districts with a 2022 and 2025 graduate of Rochester High School, and now a senior and freshman at MSU. I am also a representative of Michigan PTA on End Gun Violence, Michigan's education team, which focuses on safe homes, safe schools implementation. As a parent of a student who was at Michigan State during the shooting that happened 3 years ago, I was terrified for the safety of my son and the friends he was with. I found myself thinking, how can this be happening? It was surreal. You always pray and hope that it's not going to happen to you. The panic of not getting a response from my son for an hour felt like an eternity. It was a relief to finally hear from him as he sheltered in place and was with his friends until the police came and found them. And the grief and survivor's guilt for those who were not okay is also a struggle for our family, as it is helping our son with healing in the aftermath of such a tragedy. As these shootings keep on happening across the country, I am angry to see that so many families are losing their children and experiencing the same fear that we felt. This is why secure storage is so important. National PTA passed a safe storage resolution in 2024, calling on PTAs in every state to advocate for secure storage. And right as the shooting at MSU happened, I happened to be at a Board of Education meeting where they were passing one of these safe storage resolutions in my home district of Rochester. Secure storage can save lives. This is why Michigan PTA supports the implementation of safe homes, safe schools. It is essential that parents and kids feel safe to go to school. We can reinforce a culture of safety by educating about secure storage and making it a common practice and point of conversation. Unintentional shootings happen all over the country every day. And in Michigan, we lose an average of 1,421 people to gun violence every year. Guns are the leading cause of death for children and teens in our state. We lose an average of 115 children to gun violence every year in Michigan, according to Everytown for Gun Safety Research. As a parent, I would encourage any parents listening to take advantage of the resources being shared with you by your school district. Michigan's secure storage law requires that firearms be securely stored with a gun lock or safe when kids are around or could reasonably be expected to be around. This means that when you take your kids to their grandparents should also securely store their firearms. When your kids go to visit their friends' parents should be securely storing their firearms. It is incredibly important to have these conversations with other parents as parents to make sure the firearms are securely stored wherever our kids go. Additionally, you can make a difference by making sure that your school district sends the Safe Homes, Safe Schools materials information out. Our schools are going busy and stressful time, and it is easy for communication to get lost. Sending out this information is a crucial act that can make our communities safer. End Gun Violence Michigan has an email template that you can use to send all the necessary information to your school district. You can find it at bit.ly/SHSS toolkit. Send that template to your superintendent as a concerned community member and let us know if you've seen this information go out through your district at bit.ly/SHSS follow-up. At End Gun Violence Michigan, we will be holding a webinar for our school districts to learn more about safe homes, safe schools, and how to make secure storage education an intentional part of their school safety plan. If you are a superintendent, school board member, or administrator, please join us in November for this webinar. Stay tuned for an invitation from us. Thank you for your time. We will now open for press questions.
Hi, sorry. I don't know how I'm forgetting how to raise my hand. This is Lily Gwynny from Gollingwer. Just a question for I imagine either of the reps could answer this, and appreciate you guys showing up for this after a long night. I almost didn't make it, but so I know back when I covered these bills when they were getting put through committee last year. Was it last year? And one of the parts was kind of talking about like DHHS helping develop literature to put out to families, kind of walking through, why this was so important and the health side of this. And I was wondering if you guys could speak a little bit to, what came of that and, what this might look like, on paper, like what kind of communication parents might be receiving if that's standardized or if, it's going to vary district to district. Or if you guys are kind of, letting that fall to the schools.
No, it will be standardized, and I'll let Brixie speak too. It will definitely be standardized, and the DHHS is responsible for the content. We just told them, certain elements had to be there, how to get free gun logs, explaining what the law is, and that it was a requirement for them to send it out and a requirement for the districts to pass it on to parents. Rep Brixie, do you have anything else? Now you're muted.
Okay, we're both tired. I think that the flyer is out. Alyssa, is that correct? Right? And I think
Yes.
she probably put it in the chat.
Yeah, I just saw she dropped it in the chat, so I've got
Yeah,
it now.
great, great,
Awesome.
great. So, yes, it is standardized and it is out, and it's timely, you know, as not only as gun owners become parents, but as people move into the state with children, or people get married with who have children. These are all circumstances where a gun owner may not be aware of the requirements, and thus why it's so important for us to communicate this information through the schools.
And Lily, just another thought on that. I'm remembering, because you know, it's all a blur at this point, but I'm remembering that some of the pushback, I even heard people say on the floor when they rose to speak against this, that, oh heavens to Betsy, every school district will have to hire a designer. Every school district will have to do their own research for content. And of course, that was never what this was going to be. As a matter of fact, my kids were still in school 10 years ago, and most things like this would have been distributed digitally, so there aren't even printing costs. This is a very, very low bar, very simple, very inexpensive way to get this message out.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I'll add also from End Gun Violence Michigan's and Lily, we've been in touch with MDHHS and MDE throughout this process. So the materials that you see on the link that I shared there includes the 2-pager, which is a nice visual, pretty version of the information that they'll send out, as well as the formal notice. Both of those things are required to be sent out to parents. And there's also copies of both of those things in English, Spanish, and Arabic. Any other questions? Seeing none, I think we can wrap up this press conference. Thank you everyone again for being here. Thank you to all the press who showed up. Thank you to the representatives for coming after such a long night, and I'm sure a long day ahead of you. And thank you to all of our speakers for speaking out on secure storage education. This is a really, really critical and important issue, and your commitment is really inspiring. So thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.